Welcome to the Net Profit Podcast with Ryan Kibler, your net profit CFO, helping business owners like you grow their net profit one episode at a time. And now your host, Ryan Kibler.
All right, so today we're diving deep into something super important for anyone running a law firm or a business, and that is financial planning.
Yeah, getting it right can make a huge difference.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we've got a great source, a conversation with financial advisor Frank Rikas from the Net Profit Podcast with Ryan Kibler.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that podcast. Lots of good stuff there.
Definitely. And our goal here is to really pull out the most important insights, the ones that you can actually use to minimize those taxes we all hate.
Right.
Make sure your assets are protected no matter what life throws at you. And then, of course, build that wealth strategically.
All without needing to become a financial expert yourself.
Yeah, because who has time for that? So Frank, right off the bat, he's got over 30 years of experience in this field.
Wow, 30 years.
He's currently with an independent firm. But the really cool part is he specializes in working with people just like us, law firm owners, attorneys, business owners.
Okay, so he really gets the specific challenges that we face.
He does, and it's interesting how he actually got into that niche. He was telling Ryan that early in his career, he got assigned this orphan client.
Orphan client?
Basically, a client whose previous advisor had left the firm or something, so they needed someone to take over. And it turned out this client was a family law attorney.
Interesting.
Yeah, and through that one connection, he started getting more and more referrals from other people in the legal world, and it kind of snowballed from there.
So it wasn't like he set out specifically to target attorneys. It happened organically because he was able to really help that first client.
Exactly, and that speaks volumes, When you can solve a problem for someone, word gets around. But let's talk about some of the challenges that he sees attorneys and business owners facing when it comes to their finances.
Yeah. What are some of those common pain points?
Well, number one, and I think we can all relate to this, is time. There's never enough of it.
I think everyone feels that way sometimes.
Totally, but especially when you're running your own firm or business, you're juggling so many responsibilities, client work, managing staff, keeping everything running smoothly.
Financial planning often ends up at the bottom of the to-do list.
It does, even though we know it should be higher up there. Another thing Frank pointed out is that a lot of professionals in these fields, they have their financial lives kind of spread out all over the place.
What do you mean by that?
Well, maybe they've got insurance policies with one company, their 401k with another, maybe some investment somewhere else. But there's no real cohesive strategy tying it all together.
So it's like having all these different pieces, but no overall plan for how they fit into the bigger picture.
That's a great way to put it. And then you've got the social pressure, comparing yourself to other people in your field, maybe feeling like you need to keep up with a certain lifestyle.
The keeping up with the Joneses phenomenon.
Exactly. And that can lead to some not so great financial decisions if you're not careful.
Definitely focusing on outward appearances instead of your actual long-term goals can really backfire.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, Frank said the question he hears most often from his clients boils down to, am I going to be okay?
That makes sense. We all want to feel secure, knowing that we've got a good plan for our future.
And that's where a well-structured financial plan really comes in.
Right, it's not just about picking some random investments and hoping for the best.
It's about having a roadmap, understanding your current situation, figuring out what you want to achieve, whether it's a comfortable retirement, saving for your kids' college, leaving a legacy, whatever it is.
And then mapping out the steps to get there.
Exactly. And that plan is your foundation. It helps you make smart decisions about things like investments, insurance, taxes.
Speaking of taxes, Frank had some really interesting things to say about minimizing them.
Yeah, this is something a lot of people don't realize. They think it's just about maxing out your 401k and calling it a day.
I'm guilty of that myself. What else is there?
Well, Frank stressed the importance of thinking beyond those traditional qualified retirement plans.
You mean like the traditional 401k or IRA?
Exactly. And the key here is that even though you might get a tax deduction for your contributions now, all that money gets taxed as regular income when you withdraw it in retirement.
Oh, so you're essentially kicking the can down the road.
You are. And Frank highlighted that there are some more advanced strategies out there that can potentially give you much bigger tax benefits, especially for those with higher incomes.
Like what kind of strategies?
Well, he mentioned things like defined benefit plans and cash balance plans. Now, these can get pretty complex, so you definitely want to talk to a professional. But the gist is that they can allow you to make much larger contributions than you could with a traditional 401k or IRA.
Interesting. And what kind of tax savings are we talking about here?
Frank threw out a really compelling example. He said, imagine saving $200,000 through one of these strategies. In some cases, that could lead to around $60,000 in tax savings each year.
Wow, that's not chump change.
It's not. And think about that compounding over time. It's not just about saving money on taxes now, it's about having that extra money grow and work for you in the long run.
So it's not just about filing your taxes at the end of the year. It's about having a proactive strategy in place to minimize your tax burden overall.
100%. Now let's shift gears to another really important piece of the puzzle, which is risk management, or as Frank called it, protection.
Yeah, making sure you're covered if something unexpected happens.
Exactly. And that includes the obvious things like life insurance and disability insurance.
Right, those are pretty standard.
They are, but Frank really emphasized something that a lot of people overlook, and that's long-term care insurance.
Yeah, that's not something you think about when you're young and healthy.
It's not, but Frank's own experiences with long-term care within his family really drove home how crucial it is. And he talked about some of the common misconceptions people have about insurance in general.
Like what kinds of
Yeah.
misconceptions?
Well, some people think it's almost like tempting fate. If you buy insurance, you're inviting something bad to happen.
Right, that's not how it works.
It's not. Others think they'll just self-insure. They figure they'll have enough saved up to cover whatever comes their way.
Or that Medicare or Medicaid will take care of things.
And that's a really important point to address. Frank made it clear that for most people, especially if you have a higher income, Medicare and Medicaid are not going to be the primary solution for long-term care expenses.
Okay, so relying on those programs is not a good plan.
It's not. Medicare, it typically only covers short-term skilled nursing care. It's not meant for the kind of ongoing assistance that many people need as they age.
And Medicaid, even though it does cover long-term care, it's usually only available if you have very limited income and assets.
Right, and the quality of care in those facilities might not be what you would want for yourself or a loved one.
So it's crucial to have a plan in place. Now, when it comes to long-term care insurance, Frank explained that there are basically two types of policies.
Yeah, there's the traditional standalone policy, which is specifically for covering long-term care costs. But those have a bit of a use it or lose it element. If you end up not needing long-term care, you don't really get anything back from those premiums you paid.
That's what always made me hesitant about those policies.
I get it. It feels a bit like a gamble. But there's another option that's becoming increasingly popular, which are hybrid policies.
Hybrid policies? What are those?
So these are basically life insurance policies that have a long-term care rider built in. So you've got the death benefit for your beneficiaries, but you also have the option to access a portion of that benefit to pay for long-term care if you need it.
So it's kind of like having the best of both worlds. You're covered for long-term care, but if you never need it, your beneficiaries still get a payout.
Exactly. And Frank mentioned that with a lot of these hybrid policies, once you start using that long-term care benefit, you often don't have to pay any more premiums.
Yeah, a big plus. But I'm curious, what kind of costs are we talking about here with long-term care?
Well, Frank shared a really eye-opening story from his own life. His mother and aunt both needed extensive care for several years, and he ended up spending over $400,000 out of pocket for their care.
$400,000, that's a staggering amount.
It is, and at one point, their combined monthly expenses for care were over $13,000, and that wasn't even including their other living costs.
Yeah, long-term care can really drain your savings if you're not prepared.
It can, and that's why it's so important to have a plan. And, it's not just about protecting your current assets, it's about protecting your future financial well-being, making sure you don't end up in a difficult situation down the line.
Right, so we've covered minimizing taxes and protecting yourself from risk. What about the growing wealth part?
Right, that's the third key area Frank talked about. And it's basically all about retirement planning, both for yourself and for your firm, as well as your overall investment strategy.
Makes sense. What did Frank emphasize in this area?
He really stressed the importance of having all your financial pieces working together in sync. Not just having these separate accounts and policies that are all doing their own thing, but making sure they're all coordinated and aligned with your overall financial goals.
So having a cohesive strategy for everything.
Exactly. He compared it to having a personal CFO. Someone who's looking at the big picture and making sure everything is working efficiently.
And that's where working with a good financial advisor can make all the difference.
Absolutely. Someone who's not just trying to sell you products, but someone who's really invested in understanding your needs and helping you achieve your goals.
And that was clear throughout the interview. Frank's approach is all about putting the client first.
Yeah, he actually said most advisors start with a product to sell. We start with a person to serve.
I like that. It's about building a relationship, not just closing a deal.
Exactly. And Frank talked about how every client is different, every situation is unique. There's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to financial planning.
So you need an advisor who's willing to really get to know you and tailor a plan to your specific circumstances.
Right. He wants to understand your vision for the future, your retirement goals, your risk tolerance, all of that. Because those things are going to shape the strategy that's right for you.
He also mentioned that he's not afraid to have those tough conversations with clients, especially when it comes to things like risk management.
Yeah, sometimes you need someone to push back a little, to make sure you're really thinking about all the potential scenarios.
It's like having that trusted advisor who's looking out for your best interests, even if it means having to tell you something you might not want to hear.
Totally. And to really illustrate the power of comprehensive planning, Frank shared a story about one of his clients. This guy, he knew he needed to get his finances in order, so he worked with Frank to put a full plan in place.
What kind of plan?
The whole shebang: retirement savings, investments, business protection, life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance.
Okay, so he was fully covered.
He was. And shortly after they implemented the plan, this client had a massive heart attack while he was traveling overseas.
Oh, wow. I hope he was okay.
He was, thankfully.
Mm.
But the thing that really struck me about this story was that in the aftermath of this health scare, the client's overwhelming feeling was one of relief.
Relief.
Yeah, because he knew that no matter what happened, his family was protected, he had his financial house in order, so he could focus on recovering without having to worry about the financial implications.
That's a powerful testament to the importance of planning ahead.
It is. You can't predict the future, but you can certainly prepare for it. And having a solid financial plan in place can give you that peace of mind, knowing that you've done everything you can to protect yourself and your loved ones.
So as we wrap things up here, what are the big takeaways for our listeners?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's that a holistic financial plan is essential. You need to be thinking about minimizing taxes, managing risk, and growing your wealth all at the same time.
And it's not enough to just have a vague idea of what you want to do. You need to have a concrete plan in place, a roadmap that outlines the steps you need to take to achieve your goals.
And that's where working with a good financial advisor can be so valuable. Someone who can guide you through the process, answer your questions, and make sure you're on the right track.
Right. Someone who understands your specific needs and puts your interests first. And if anyone is interested in learning more about Frank Rikas and his approach, you can find him on LinkedIn.
Yeah, just search for Frank Rikas. His profile should come right up, and you can find all his contact info there, phone number, email, website, all that.
He's actually got a goal this year to connect with 50 attorneys.
Which shows you he's really focused on building those relationships, not just trying to make a quick sale.
Exactly. So as a final thought for everyone listening, take some time to really think about the potential financial impact of unforeseen events. Things like a health issue, a market downturn, even something as simple as a car accident.
Does your current financial situation provide you with the level of security and peace of mind you need? And if not, what are some steps you can take to change that?
It's a question worth pondering because at the end of the day, financial planning is about more than just money.
It's about protecting your future, your dreams, your family's well-being.
It's about having the freedom to live your life on your own terms, knowing that you're financially secure.
And that's something we all deserve.
All right, diving in today, we've got a really interesting conversation to unpack. It's Ryan Kimler talking with Mike Payne now. Mike's both an attorney and a CPA.
Whoa, that's a combo you don't see every day.
Right. And this was on the Net Profit Podcast, so we're pulling out the juiciest bits, the stuff that's going to really make a difference for your business, legally and financially.
No one wants to get lost in the legal weeds.
Exactly. We're cutting through that for you. So first off, this dual expertise of Mike's attorney and CPA, that's got to give him a pretty unique perspective.
Definitely. Seeing both sides of the coin, the legal and the financial, that's huge for business owners. And he's the principal at Boss Advisors.
Boss Advisors, yeah. He mentioned it stands for Business Owner Systems and Strategies.
Okay, so right off the bat, they're all about giving business owners the decision makers the tools they need.
To make those smart choices, avoid pitfalls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Mike talked about how Boss Advisors is really focused on helping those decision makers reduce risk and find savings, especially when it comes to taxes.
Makes sense. Taxes are a big one for any business.
Huge. And they handle a lot in-house, tax, accounting, legal. But what's interesting is they refer out for specialized CFO stuff.
Shows you they're really honed in on their niche.
Absolutely, knowing your strengths. So get this. Mike actually started out running two separate firms, a law firm and a CPA firm, side by side.
Oh, wow. Most people would say, pick a lane.
Right. But he talked about how when he was at the accounting firm, clients would often need legal help, and vice versa at the law firm. They'd have accounting questions.
So he was seeing a need for that combined approach firsthand.
Yeah, and he actually talked to others in Arizona who had both the JD and the CPA. They all told him just choose one.
But he went the other way.
He did. Classic entrepreneur, right? Bucking the trend. But then there's this twist. Arizona law changes.
Okay, this is where it gets interesting.
So in 2021, Arizona does this groundbreaking thing. They become the first state to allow lawyers to share fees with non-lawyers.
Huh, didn't know that.
Yeah, it's huge because before that, lawyers couldn't have non-lawyer partners in most places. It was like ethically prohibited.
Really restricting.
Totally. But this change in Arizona law, it blew the doors wide open for Mike. Suddenly, he could legally merge his two firms with his non-lawyer business partner and create this one entity, Boss Advisors.
Wow, so that law change was a game changer for him.
Totally reshaped his business. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. Mike dropped some serious knowledge bombs in this interview.
Let's break it down. Starting with legal protection, something every business owner needs to think about.
Absolutely. He emphasized these core legal documents, the must-haves, especially for startups, and he specified service-based businesses.
Like what kind?
He mentioned law firms, accounting firms, financial advisors, insurance, real estate, basically businesses where the service is the product, less so for those with, inventory and manufacturing.
Got it. So what documents are we talking about?
Okay, the big ones. First up, the operating agreement. This is crucial if you've got multiple owners.
Like a partnership.
Yeah, it's like the rule book lays out how decisions get made, how profits are split, what happens if someone leaves.
Super important to have that clarity from the get-go.
Absolutely. Now, if you're a corporation, it's the bylaws and shareholder agreement that do that heavy lifting. Similar idea, defining how things work. Then, for employees, you've got to have solid employment agreements.
Makes sense. Protecting yourself legally.
Right. And Mike mentioned they tailor these agreements. Like, executives get a more in-depth version, maybe covering bonuses or stock options. Regular employees, a shorter, simpler offer.
Smart. Keep it streamlined where you can.
Yeah, don't overwhelm people. But then for independent contractors, it's a whole different ballgame. You need a really buttoned-up independent contractor agreement.
What makes those different?
Well, they have to clearly lay out the work, the payment, all that. But the really critical part, Mike said, is the language that protects you if the IRS or the Department of Labor comes knocking.
What, like an audit?
Yeah, if they think you've misclassified an employee as a contractor, the penalties can be brutal. Back pay, overtime, fines, the whole 9 yards.
Yikes. That's a headache no one needs.
Major headache. Okay, switching gears to vendors. Mike said often the vendor provides the service agreement.
Right. They have their standard contract.
Exactly. And Boss Advisors, they'll often review those for clients just to make sure everything's kosher, that it's fair, and protects the client's interests.
Good to have that second set of eyes.
Oh, yeah. Now, on the flip side, for your own customers or clients, you need airtight customer or client service agreements.
To protect yourself from, disagreements down the line.
Exactly. You want to protect your intellectual property, your processes, your creative work, all of that. And if needed, include things like non-competes, confidentiality agreements, that kind of thing.
So it's about setting clear boundaries, expectations.
Right. And Mike really hammered home the importance of defining the scope of your services precisely, what you will do, what you won't do. That prevents so many disputes.
So we've laid out all these legal must-haves, but let's be real, the first thought a lot of business owners have is lawyers are expensive.
Oh, totally. And Mike acknowledged that straight up. He gets it, that fear factor, the feeling that legal help is out of reach.
It's intimidating.
It is. And he even mentioned those DIY legal websites like LegalZoom. He said sometimes, for basic stuff, they're okay.
Like a starting point.
Yeah, but he was adamant that when things get complex or the stakes are high, there's no substitute for a lawyer who really understands your business.
Someone who can give you tailored advice.
Exactly. One size fits all doesn't always cut it in the legal world. And this is where Boss Advisor's legal subscription service comes in.
Okay, tell me about that.
So they've taken this idea we see everywhere, subscriptions, and applied it to legal services.
Interesting.
It's pretty innovative. Basically, you get access to an attorney at regular intervals, quarterly, twice a year, even every other month, depending on your needs.
So you're not scrambling to find a lawyer when a crisis hits.
Right, it's proactive instead of reactive. And Mike pointed out, even a cheap lawsuit can cost you 20 grand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and 50,000 is more common. So the subscription aims to prevent those issues from even happening.
By catching them early.
Exactly. You have these scheduled check-ins, but also you can reach out in between if something comes up.
Included in the fee.
Yep. He compared it to Netflix. You pay one price, use it as much or as little as you need. So what happens when you sign up, there's this initial deep dive.
Walk me through that.
They map out your org chart, who's who in the business. Then they go through all your existing legal docs, see what's there, what's missing. They'll revise anything that needs updating, make sure everything's properly signed, and they repeat that review every year.
So it's an ongoing process.
Oh, yeah. And they'll work with you on specific goals, too, like setting up compensation plans, employee handbooks, whatever you need. And again, that access to a lawyer without constantly racking up hourly charges, that's huge.
Makes it way less stressful. Now, Mike also talked about their pricing models, beyond just the subscription.
Because pricing, that's how you make a profit.
Bottom line.
Exactly. So they've got 4 main methods. Hourly rate, they use that sparingly, mostly for unpredictable projects.
Where you can't really estimate the time up front.
Right. Then there's the flat fee. Good for projects with a clear beginning and end, like buying a business or merging.
Predictability, both for them and the client.
Exactly. Then we've got the subscription for those ongoing needs. And the last one, this is fascinating, is value pricing.
Value pricing, break that down for me.
Okay, so instead of paying for time, you're paying for the result, the value the service brings.
Interesting.
Like instead of paying for the hours it takes to create a tax plan, you're paying based on how much money that plan saves you in taxes.
So their success is tied to your success.
Exactly. Aligned incentives. And Mike gave some examples, like with the employee retention credit, the ERC. They charge a percentage, but only if the client gets the credit.
So you only pay if it works.
Yep. And for tax planning, their base fee is $2,500, but only if they find savings that exceed that amount, which he said they usually do. Usually it's like 10 to 20,000 in savings.
Wow, so it's really an investment.
Totally. And for service-based businesses, Mike's advice was figure out what your clients truly value. What's the outcome they're looking for?
And price accordingly.
Right.
Yeah.
Shift from thinking hours billed to results achieved. So bringing it all back to profit, getting the legal stuff right, nailing your pricing, that's massive for your bottom line.
No question.
And Mike said, look, you can't always prevent lawsuits. Some people, he joked, will sue over anything.
That's the world we live in.
But having your legal ducks in a row makes it way harder for someone to successfully sue you. That proactive protection saves you money, time, stress, all of it.
Huge. Now, beyond the legal and financial, Mike also talked about the owner's energy, their impact on the team.
Yes, he was super passionate about this. He said the owner's energy, it sets the tone for the whole company.
Like if the owner's down, everyone feels it.
Exactly. He even compared it to being a parent. If you come home grumpy, the kids pick up on that. Same in a business. And he really stressed consistency.
Why is that so important?
Because if your energy is over the place, employees get anxious. They start wondering what's going on, if the business is stable.
It breeds uncertainty.
Yeah. But if the owner is consistently positive, engaged, it creates a more confident, productive environment. People feel secure.
Makes sense. And Mike talked about a mistake he made early on.
Oh, yes, the business coach thing. He said he wished he'd hired one sooner.
What held him back?
The cost. He thought it was too expensive. But then he realized he was losing more money by not having a coach.
Because he wasn't as efficient, wasn't making the best decisions.
Exactly. And a good coach has seen it all. They can guide you, help you avoid those pitfalls.
Shorten the learning curve.
Yeah. And Mike even recommended a specific coach, Jared Greer. His website is greermethod.com. Apparently, he's fantastic.
Nice. Always good to have a recommendation. So, for our listeners, if they're digging Mike's approach, wanting to learn more about Boss Advisors, what's the best way to connect?
Mike said, just reach out, start a conversation, see if it's a good fit. They're all about helping businesses boost their net profit, so they're not going to push unnecessary services.
That's reassuring. All right, Mike, thanks so much for sharing all this wisdom with Ryan, which we could then pass on to our listeners.
Glad to do it. And remember, we see these services as an investment, not a cost.
It's about building a stronger business.
Absolutely. So, for you listening, here's something to ponder. Think about one area of your business. Maybe it's legal, maybe it's pricing, maybe it's your own development as a leader. Where could getting expert guidance really make a difference?
What's that one thing you could do this week, one small step to be more proactive?
Think about that.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
See you next time.
All right, welcome to The Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be getting into something that is, I think, fundamental to every business, but especially important for law firms,
Okay.
and that is effective bookkeeping. Now, we have a really, really great conversation that we're going to be diving into.
Yeah.
This is a conversation between Ryan Kimmler and Jaime Rodriguez.
Okay.
And Jaime owns Parallel Ledger, which is a bookkeeping service that really focuses on law firms. And he is also the curriculum manager for bookkeepers.com.
Wow.
So he really knows his stuff.
Yeah, he does.
So what we want to do in this deep dive is really pull out the essential strategies
Right.
and understand why smart bookkeeping, it's not just, balancing the books. It's really a cornerstone
Yeah.
of any business's success. But especially when you look at the very specific world of legal practices, right? Dealing with client funds and
Absolutely. And it's interesting because I think when we think about bookkeeping, we just think like, oh, back office function.
Right.
But when you hear from somebody who's in it, who works with law firms every single day,
right.
it really becomes this strategic and
Yeah.
impactful thing.
Totally.
That's not just about debits and credits. It's about real financial health for a business.
Yeah, for sure. So let's actually get into how Jaime found his way into this specialized area.
Okay.
He's got a really interesting background. He earned an accounting degree from Sam Houston State, but he's not a CPA.
Okay.
And early in his career, he was working as a bookkeeper
Okay.
for a furniture store that actually had an investment arm as well.
Oh, wow.
So kind of all over the place.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And, you hear often that your most valuable learning comes from the most unexpected places.
Absolutely.
And that furniture store role, gave him a solid foundation in bookkeeping.
Yeah.
But it was really that move to the law firm where he encountered the very specific demands
Yeah.
of a service-based business that is dealing with client funds. So very, very different.
Yeah, it's interesting how one thing can lead to the next, right?
Right.
And how those skills that he had in that furniture store actually gave him
Totally.
the base to move into the law firm.
Yeah, and, this immigration law firm was a real game changer for him.
Okay.
He says that he actually learned more in his 2 years there than in his entire college education.
Wow.
And this was especially when it came to trust accounts, which for law firms,
Oh, okay.
these very specific accounts
Right.
used to hold client funds.
Gotcha.
And they have to be kept completely separate from the firm's operating money.
Mm-hmm.
So there are very, very strict rules around it.
Yeah, makes sense.
And apparently just sharing an office with the office manager there is really what sparked that idea of, hey, maybe I should start my own bookkeeping company.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah, so just that, I guess, everyday interaction
Right.
planted that seed of
Totally.
a major life decision.
Yeah. And, emphasizes the importance of relationships
Absolutely.
and, just being open to different possibilities.
Yeah, because you never know where those conversations are going to lead you.
Right, exactly. So he gets to a point where he's like, I got to make a change.
Okay.
And he takes the plunge and starts his own bookkeeping business. But this was not without significant risk, right?
Oh.
You're talking, leaving a job,
Yeah.
pulling money out of his 401k,
Oh, wow.
selling personal belongings,
Mm-hmm.
and even moving back in with his parents at 26.
Oh, okay.
It takes guts to do that.
It really does. It's a huge risk, but it just shows you the level of commitment
Right.
that often goes with starting a business.
Yeah.
But everybody's different, and that's
Okay.
not for everybody.
Right.
But it's inspiring to hear that somebody was willing to do that.
Yeah, and this is where this story takes a really great turn
Okay.
because his previous employer, that immigration law firm,
Mm-hmm.
became his first client.
Mm.
So,
That's amazing.
talk about validation.
Yeah, and that first client's always so critical too.
Totally.
Because not only do they give you that initial revenue,
Right.
but they also are kind of like,
Proof of concept.
yeah, proof of concept. Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is actually going to work,
Right.
and we believe in you.
Right. We trust you.
Yeah.
And especially in that legal niche where trust is so important,
Absolutely.
to have that first client right off the bat like that,
Yeah.
It's just huge.
That's got to feel great.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so he's been running Parallel Ledger for about 7 years now.
Okay.
And it's very clear that he gets a lot of fulfillment from seeing his clients thrive
Yeah.
and knowing that he has played a part in
Right.
their financial well-being.
That must be really rewarding.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of entrepreneurs who are in service-based industries,
Yeah.
that's a huge motivator.
Absolutely.
It's not just about processing transactions.
It's about being a partner in their success.
Oh, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's actually get into some of the effective bookkeeping strategies that he's really kind of learned and implemented over the years. So first and foremost, he stresses the importance of simplicity and clarity in financial statements.
Right.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you can't easily understand your numbers, how can you actually make informed decisions?
Right. It's got to be easy to understand and clear.
Right.
It's like the dashboard of your business.
Yeah.
If you're looking at that and it's
Confused.
yeah, cluttered, confusing, you can't really make the right decision.
All right, you don't know what the vital signs are, you know?
Exactly.
Okay, so he also emphasizes that the relationship between the client and the bookkeeper needs to be a two-way street.
Right.
It's not just about, like, dumping a box of receipts on the bookkeeper.
Right. It's a partnership.
It is.
It's collaborative.
Yeah, there needs to be that communication.
Absolutely.
Yeah, communication's so important.
Totally. All right, so now here's a really crucial strategy
Okay.
that he highlights. He talks about weekly engagement with transaction records.
Okay.
Now, this doesn't mean entering every single detail, but getting into the books at least once a week to kind of keep an eye out for anything that looks fraudulent or suspicious or even incorrect, you know, like a transaction that ended up in the wrong bank account or something like that. And he emphasizes that time is so critical, especially when you're thinking about law firms that are dealing with client funds in trust accounts.
Absolutely. So that's really what distinguishes a really effective bookkeeper.
Right.
Somebody who's not just, you know, recording what happened historically.
Right.
But they're kind of in there.
Proactive.
Yeah, proactively managing.
Right.
And making sure that everything's going right.
Yeah, it's damage control.
Yeah.
Right, not reactive recording. Exactly, and it's so important for law firms because they have that higher level of scrutiny.
Yep, they've got to keep those trust accounts totally separate.
Yep.
Okay, so like a lot of businesses today, Parallel Ledger operates on a virtual cloud-based model.
Okay.
And this offers a lot of advantages, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, this includes things like accounting software.
Right.
He mentions Intuit products, Xero, tools for receipt management if the client wants it.
Okay.
Access to point-of-sale systems, read-only access to bank accounts.
Okay.
And even software to manage accounts payable and accounts receivable.
That's amazing. It's like they can work from anywhere, right?
Right.
So that accessibility is just huge.
For both the bookkeeper and the client.
Yeah.
And he actually mentions a really big thing for his clients is that self-service access to their financial statements.
Oh, nice.
Through a portal. So they're not having to, you know, email back and forth.
Right. They can just log in and see everything.
Exactly. I love that. And it really puts that power in the business owner's hands.
Right. To really understand what's going on with their finances.
Exactly. Totally. So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about trust and specialization.
Okay.
And the importance of that, especially in the legal field.
Okay.
So Jaime really makes a good point. He says that, you know, if you don't feel comfortable giving your bookkeeper read-only access to your bank accounts, that's a pretty clear sign that something isn't right.
Yeah.
It could be the bookkeeper, it could be the fit, but trust is absolutely foundational.
Right. I mean, when it comes to finances, especially trust is the bedrock of the relationship.
Totally.
And I think that giving them bank access is a huge sign of confidence in the bookkeeper.
Exactly. And he also brings up this point about the level of scrutiny that law firms face. You know, it's not just about tax season. It's about maintaining their license to practice law.
Right.
And staying compliant with the bar regulations.
Yeah. So it adds another layer of responsibility for law firms to make sure that their bookkeeping is accurate. And
Right. And they've got to be meticulous.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Because, you know, any mistakes there could be really, really bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here's a really unique aspect for law firms.
Okay.
It's how they handle client money.
Okay.
Specifically, those retainer fees
Right.
that haven't been earned yet.
Okay.
So legally, you can't just count that as revenue.
Right.
It actually sits on the balance sheet as a liability.
Right.
And, a liability is like an obligation.
Right.
So in this case, the law firm owes the client
Yeah.
the services that they've paid for up front.
Right. Yeah.
And this is a very specific thing.
Yeah, you got to know how to account for that.
You got to know how to account for it.
Right.
And if you get it wrong, it can lead to some serious trouble.
Yeah.
You can actually get audited
Right.
by both the state bar and the IRS.
So knowing how to handle that unearned revenue
Right.
is a really specific skill.
It is. And it's
Yeah.
really a defining characteristic, I think, of bookkeeping for law firms.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he brings up a great point about immigration attorneys specifically,
Okay.
because they're often handling hundreds, if not thousands, of cases every year.
Wow.
So the volume is just so high
Yeah.
that it increases the potential for errors if the processes aren't really rock solid.
Yeah, you're dealing with so much more.
Right.
So the margin for error is much smaller.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what a bookkeeper actually does on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Jeannie actually uses a really helpful analogy here.
Okay.
He compares a bookkeeper to a nurse
Oh, okay.
and a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So the bookkeeper, as the nurse,
Yeah.
is the one who's in there every single day,
Yeah.
monitoring the vital signs,
Right.
the financial health of the business.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Right. Identifying those initial financial pain points.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I like that analogy because the bookkeeper is on the front lines,
They are.
seeing everything as it happens, whereas, a business owner might not see that,
Right.
especially when you're first starting out and you're wearing all the hats.
Exactly.
You're not going to be in your books every day.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And because of that, they're more likely to catch things like fraudulent transactions,
Right.
errors in payroll,
Mhm.
much faster than someone who's only doing a higher level review.
Exactly, because they're in it every day.
They are.
They're going to see those things.
Right. So like a CFO that's looking at things monthly,
Right.
or a tax preparer that's coming in just once a year.
Yeah, they're not going to catch those things as easily.
So it's about that early detection.
Yeah.
And Shaimi really believes that having a bookkeeper
Okay.
is the fundamental first step in getting your business finances in order,
Makes sense.
even if you're just starting out.
Yeah. So even if you're brand new,
Yeah.
you should have somebody in there.
Yeah, and he emphasizes that business owners, especially early on, are wearing so many hats
Oh, yeah,
that
absolutely.
they just don't have the time or sometimes the expertise to handle it effectively.
Right. And so you really want to focus on what you're good at
Exactly.
and let somebody else who's an expert handle those books.
Delegate,
Yeah.
right? And plus, a bookkeeper who works with multiple clients
Mm-hmm.
can really gain a broader perspective.
Right.
So while always maintaining confidentiality,
Hmm.
they can start to see certain trends
Right.
and provide really valuable comparisons.
Right.
Like, what are typical marketing budget percentages for a business of your size?
Yeah.
What are common payroll costs in your industry?
That's really great insight.
Yeah, and you might not have that insight if you're just kind of working.
Yeah, you're in your own little bubble. You don't
Say-
see what other businesses are doing.
Right. And he also touches on something that I thought was really interesting. He talked about the potential loneliness
Yeah.
can come with business ownership
Yeah.
and how a bookkeeper can actually be a really supportive partner.
Yeah. Somebody to talk to about
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah, to kind of be there with you on the journey.
Absolutely.
Totally. So let's talk about building that financial team.
Okay.
So Jaime kind of lays out his ideal scenario,
Mm.
and it's really having a dedicated bookkeeper for your day-to-day tasks,
Right.
a part-time CFO to help with that monthly financial strategy,
Okay.
a tax preparer for
Yeah.
year-end,
Mhm.
and even a retirement planner for long-term financial security.
Wow. So it's like a whole team
It is.
that can help support you.
It's like a whole team,
Yeah.
right? And each person has their own expertise and their own value that they bring.
Absolutely.
And, he makes a really important point that retirement planning is often overlooked
Oh, yeah.
by business owners.
Especially when you're first starting out.
Right, because you're so focused on the day-to-day. Or you're maybe hoping for that big payout when you sell the business.
Right.
But that's not always a guaranteed plan.
Yeah. So you got to be planning for your future,
Absolutely.
even if you think you're going to sell your business.
Totally. And what might be surprising to people is he actually estimates
Okay.
the cost for this entire financial team
Mm.
for a $500,000 revenue business
Okay.
at around $40,000 annually.
Okay.
And he argues that that's a significant return on investment.
Yeah. Especially when you think about the expertise that they're bringing.
Totally.
As an investment in the future of your business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he also emphasizes how vital it is to have that direct communication
Right.
between all the members of this team,
Mm-hmm.
the bookkeeper, the CFO, the tax preparer,
Right.
and that the business owner shouldn't be a bottleneck.
Yeah. Got to keep that information flowing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I love how he actually calls this ideal team the Avengers,
The Avengers. I love
which I think is a great way to visualize it.
it. Is. It's like the super team that's here to protect you.
Totally, with their financial superpowers.
Absolutely.
So, moving on to
That's the one.
something a little different. Jamie actually wrote a book.
Oh, cool.
It's called Beyond the Numbers.
Okay.
And he was actually inspired to write it after he spoke at a conference for bookkeepers
Oh, wow.
and heard a speaker talking about how easy it was to write a book
Yeah.
and discovered that it wasn't quite that simple.
It's never as easy as it sounds, right?
Right.
But I bet it was a very rewarding process.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
So the book really focuses on the importance of customer service within the bookkeeping industry,
Okay.
but a lot of the principles that he talks about can be applied to any service-based business.
Yeah.
And he emphasizes that, bookkeeping really is a relationship business,
Absolutely.
and finding that right fit between the bookkeeper and the business owner
Yeah.
is crucial.
Yeah.
And he's aiming for a launch in July, so.
That's great. I love that he's highlighting the relationship part of it.
Right.
It just shows you that,
It's not just about numbers.
yeah, even in a profession that deals with numbers,
Right.
the human connection is so important.
It is.
Yeah.
And so, finally, if you're interested in connecting with Heaney,
Okay.
his name is a pretty common name.
Right.
So searching for him on the internet might not be the easiest thing.
Yeah.
So he recommends that you check out his website, which is paralleledger.com.
Okay.
Or you can find him on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/Hampy-paralleledger.
Perfect. So that makes it really easy for people to find him.
Exactly. And so as we wrap up this deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
the key takeaway for you should be the impact that diligent and specialized bookkeeping
Great.
can really have on your business.
Yeah.
And especially if you're in the legal field, it goes so far beyond
Yeah.
just tracking those income and expenses.
Right.
It's about managing risk. It's about gaining those strategic insights.
Yeah. And having that peace of mind, knowing that your finances are in order.
Exactly. So we encourage you to really consider the value of
Yeah.
having that dedicated and trusted bookkeeping partner who
Absolutely.
really understands the specific needs of your industry.
Yeah. And I think it's a great time to reflect on your current situation
Yeah.
and see if it aligns with what we've talked about today.
Right. Is it meeting your needs?
Yeah.
And if you're looking to maybe optimize those processes or build that really strong financial infrastructure, check out some of the resources that we've mentioned.
Yeah, definitely check out Joey's website.
Right. His LinkedIn, all that.
Absolutely.
So on that note, here's a final thought to really consider.
Okay.
How might cultivating a more strategic and trusting relationship with a specialized bookkeeper
Right.
unlock unforeseen opportunities
Yeah.
for your business
Absolutely.
and provide you with that greater sense of security and peace of mind?
That's what we all want.
Right.
Yeah.
About your financial future.
For sure.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Net Profit Podcast with Ryan Kimler. Make sure to subscribe or follow the show on your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to check the show notes for our guest contact information and to connect with Ryan on his website, netprofitcfo.com.